And this was Daniel Jones' best game. You could say the Buccaneers game was the biggest win of his career, but that came down to a missed field goal. I would say this is the biggest win of his career so far. Now, granted, he only has 4, but this was the biggest win. 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles, no turnovers. Now, he didn't throw any touchdown passes, but he was 21 of 28, so he has a pretty nice completion percentage, 244 yards, and he didn't hurt us. There was one dropped pick by Nikel Roby-Coleman. I guess maybe that it was tipped, so I don't know if you can necessarily put it on Jones, although I think it was a high throw to Golden Tate. But that said, his completion percentage over expected, CPOE, this comes from Justin Penik or Penik of Talkin Giants, plus 5.6. It's the 3rd highest in the league so far of that weekend of NFL action. 75% completions, as we said. His average intended air yards per attempt, 8.3 yards, which is the 3rd highest in the league, and his 8.7 yards per attempt, the best total so far this year. So what does that translate to? I just threw a bunch of numbers at you, and maybe you got a little foggy in the eyeball area. I'm going to break it down for you, Peter Pan, Count Chocula. So what it means is he's able to throw the ball deeper, further, harder, stronger, okay? He's looking down the field, he's being more decisive, he's getting rid of it, but he's also, he's able to throw deep and complete it and pick up yards. I mean, Jesus, man. The back-to-back throws he had on that one drive, first to Sterling Shepard, then to Golden Tate. Maybe he doesn't throw that in the first quarter of the season, the first 4 or 5 games. Maybe he doesn't throw those. The Bucs game, he was throwing them, but he wasn't completing them. So it looks like he's coming around. He's finally he's learning the geometric rate. So I'm just so happy for the guy. He redeemed himself on the touchdown run that he had, 34 yards. He topped out at 19.2 miles per hour, and it still does not look like he's running fast. But I don't know what it is, but I think he is Ivan Drago. He just fucking trains his dick off, and that's when he gets into game mode. It's just like the muscle memory kicks in, and all his training kicks in. And it's like when he was running, he wasn't bobbing up and down. He wasn't shifty. It was just so smooth and like mechanical, ergonomic, and he didn't trip. And he scored a touchdown, and it was like redemption on Tosh.0. He recorded a QBR of 91.5, highest single game QBR of his career. He was the highest graded player for the Giants from the game with an 84.2 overall. When operating from a clean pocket, he was 18 of 18 with a 93.1 passing grade. 188 yards in a clean pocket, 4 big-time throws, which was tied for first across the league in Week 10, and that 93.1 passing grade was tops in the league in Week 10. What's the moral of the story? You give the guy a clean pocket, you're going to come up aces. That's how it works. I mean, you don't get any better than that. So just give the guy a clean pocket. Daniel Jones is averaging 8 yards per rush. In the last 30 seasons, Michael Vick is the only other NFL quarterback to average better than 8 yards per rush. Daniel Jones and Michael Vick. And that was Vick's 2006 season, which he was a monster that season, I think. 9 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, 34 of those yards came on the touchdown. So the other was like 8 for 34, which is, a little over 4 yards a carry. I don't hate that. But those are the kind of numbers that I don't think anyone's going to argue with. If you can get him more than 5 carries, at least a carry per drive, and can get him in that 5-yard average, at least 5-yard average, we're doing things right. And Wayne Gallman, the Wayne train, these numbers don't do him justice. 18 carries, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns. His rushing average was 2.9, but you got to remember, towards the end of the game, Eagles knew he was getting the ball, and so he was getting stuffed, and a lot of negative yard rushes. So I think if you take those away, the numbers look probably a hell of a lot better. There were a lot of runs where, like I've been saying for a very long time, it's just like he gets hit and he just keeps on trucking. It's just like he doesn't look like a big bruising running back, but the guy just doesn't like to go down. It's a thing of beauty to watch. I'm so on board the Wayne train. It's insane. Wayne Gallman is the first Giants running back with 1 or more rushing touchdowns in 4 consecutive games since Andre Brown in 2012 and 2013. Andre Brown. He gave us we found love in a hopeless place with Andre Brown. Out of all the running backs with at least 50 carries, Wayne Gallman has spent the least amount of time behind the line of scrimmage per carry. He's also the 6th in NFL's NFL Next Gen Stats efficiency metric. Yeah, I mean, I would sign him. I would definitely re-sign him. I mean, you see what you have at your disposal. He's a beautiful plan B, beautiful insurance package for Saquon. Alfred Morris, 8 carries, 34 yards. I don't hate that. 4.3 average. Darius Slayton. I had my doubts about Darius Slayton coming in this game. He didn't really show up last game. Only 1 catch, I think. 7 targets, 5 catches, 93 yards. He had that one beautiful catch down the left sideline, deep. And this is where I think Jones is getting better and where the receivers are getting better. Jones is like, hey, don't outthrow. I mean, it's insane to think that was a major knock on Daniel Jones coming into the NFL. Was like, does he have the arm strength? And it's like, it seems like he's overthrown Sterling Shepard a bajillion times since he's been up. So the fact that he's able to get better ball placement, he's putting a little more air under it, knowing that there's not going to be help over the top, that's huge. You can't, I mean, if you have one-on-one locked up and no one's coming across, then yeah, you can at least let the receiver adjust the ball. And that's what he did on that deep throw to Slayton. Slayton making just an incredible adjustment to come around and come down with it. And Sterling Shepard, 6 targets, 6 catches, 47 yards. And no, that the yardage doesn't blow you away. But I just love the fact that he just doesn't miss. He doesn't drop. He just he's catching everything. Sterling Shepard caught all 6 of his targets versus the Eagles. He now has a catch percentage of over 80% this season. His previous career high was 70. So, dude's Spider-Man right now. He's just, everything's sticking with him. Golden Tate, he had a very nice catch down the right sideline after the Sterling Shepard deep ball. Stellar placement by Daniel Jones. And then for Golden Tate to go up and haul it in. I mean, no one's argued that Golden Tate, man, he makes outstanding catches. He'll make one outstanding catch a game. He usually does. He'll usually give you one big play a game, I feel like. But man, 5 targets, you'd hope for 4 catches. Let's get more catches. There was the one pass where Jones threw it way too high, and Tate tried his best to go up and get it, but couldn't come down with it. There was another ball though that was somewhat deep. I want to say it was a dig or cross, and Tate just gator armed it. He T-Rexed it, and if he extends, it's a catch. But he was worried about getting clocked. So something you gotta keep in mind with Golden Tate. The big one though is Evan Engram, 3 targets, 2 catches, 15 yards. And granted, one of those catches was like, holy shit. Why is it that the more difficult the catch is, Evan Engram seems to come away with it, and the easier it is, it's like complete oppo of what it should be.